We'll chant the Shanti mantra, so you can repeat after me. It should be on your page, the invocation page, page 5. Om Apyayantu Mamangani. Vak pranashchakshushrotramatho balamindriyani cha sarvani. Sarvam Brahmopanishadam. Maham Brahma nirakuryam. Ma Brahma nirakarot. Anirakaranamastu anirakaranam me astu. Tadatmani nirateya upanishatsu dharmaha. Te mai santu, te mai santu. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Okay. So we are in the 6th chapter of Chandogya Upanishad. And yesterday we saw the meaning of the Shanti mantra, the invocation, seeking Bhagavan's grace and blessings to be healthy, and so that we don't deny Brahman, we don't deny the study of the Upanishads, given this opportunity. We also saw the start of the Upanishad with Shweta-ketu. And Shweta-ketu is Uddalaka Rishi's son, Aruni's son. Uddalaka Rishi's son, and he's called Aruneya, because he's the grandson of Aruna. And this Shweta-ketu, he was very lazy and staying home, and he didn't do anything. So his father said, go to Gurukula. And he went. At 12 years old, he went to Gurukula, and he came back when he was 24 years old. He spent 12 years. But when he came back, he was very proud, very, very proud. He thought he knew everything. And he refused to bow down to his own father. And so his father knew this and wanted to break his ego and asked him the question, Yena ashrutam shrutam bhavati, amatam matam, avijnatam vijnatam. Did you find out that by which the unheard becomes heard, the unthought of becomes thought of, the unknown becomes known? Did you find that out? And Shwetaketu was totally dumbfounded. He said, what is that? Please tell me. And then Uddalaka Rishi gives 3 examples. Gives the example of clay, of gold, of iron. And he says, just like a lump of clay, from a lump of clay there are different things that come. Let's say a pot, a pitcher, a cup. But if you really look at them, in reality, Mrittika iti eva satyam. It's just clay alone. Because the pot, the pitcher, the cup are just names and forms. And he calls them vacharambhanam, which means they are based on speech. Vikaraha, this product, this effect, whatever comes out of clay, this vikaraha is namadheya. It's just namesake alone. So if you take the substance clay, and then you take the substance clay plus name, form, and function, like a pot, pitcher, and cup, sure, we can do things with it. Sure, it has a name and it has a form. But if we remove clay from it, what happens? It's not there, it ceases to exist, right? Clay was there before, there during, there after. The names and forms just appear on clay. And because they're an appearance, if we remove clay, they don't exist anymore. And if we ask, what is the weight of name and form and function? Is there a weight? No, there's only a weight of clay. So in the same way, he tells Shwetaketu, the same for gold and the same for iron. Everything is just that clay, that gold, that iron. But in these 3 circumstances, they're only very exclusive. The pot, pitcher, cup is exclusive to clay. The bangle, bracelet, earring is exclusive to gold. And the things made of iron are exclusive to iron. But if we were to inquire what is the cause of this whole entire world, what is it? And so Uddalaka Rishi says it is Sat, it's pure existence. That is the cause of the world. And so yesterday where we left off was Sadeva Somya Idam Agra Asi. So let us read that, section 2. Sadeva Somya Idam Agra Asi Ekameva Dvitiyam Tadha Eka Ahuhu Asadevedamagra Asi Ekameva Dvitiyam Tasmad Asatas Sajjayata. So he says, Uddalaka Rishi says, that from which the entire world came is called Sat. Sat Eva, Sat alone was there when Agre, this Agra is Agre, it was there before. Before what? Idam. Idam means this whole creation. So existence alone was there before this entire creation. And how was that existence? Eka. Ekam, Eva, Advitiya. One alone without a second. So first let's think about this. When we say creation, we mean everything in the range of our senses and mind. In Vedanta, one word is used for creation, it's called idam. Idam means anything that's an object of our experience. So whatever it is that we can see, hear, smell, taste, touch, that is the world. Whatever we can think of, we can conceive in our mind, that is the world. Whatever we can conceive of with our intellect, that is the world. And even those unmanifest manifest vasanas, that is also part of the world. So all of this that we see, not only outside, but even this body, this mind, this intellect, all of this is the world. And before all of this, there was just pure existence. Now a question comes. Existence is there now, right? So why are you saying existence was there before? Existence is also there now. Why are you saying existence was there before? Because existence alone was where the names and forms were unmanifest. And now existence is where the names and forms are manifest. So in its true state, existence was before names and forms were manifest. But then there's a problem with this. You were saying existence was, and you were saying two things. Existence was. So it is like there's duality. Because when you say she is, he is, there's two things. You're saying existence was. So there's two things. And so in the Upanishads it said, there's not two things. It is a matter of speech. Like we say, speech is spoken. Work is done. You repeat it, right? Existence was. It's the same thing. It's the same thing. It's not two different things. There's no duality. And it's not also repetition. It is avadharana. It is to make it firm. Existence was. But wait a second. You are saying existence was. That's wrong. That's wrong. So Purva Paksha says that's wrong because when you say was, you're bringing in time. Right? And time is a part of creation. So how can you say existence was? How can you say was when time is part of creation and existence was there before creation? So why are you using that language? And so the Siddhanta says that in Advaita we have to use the language of Dvaita because otherwise the bhashya or the speech would just be silence. We wouldn't be able to convey Advaita. So even this time, why we're saying existence was, is because we have that kala vasana. We have that vasana of time. So we have to put time to everything. We have to put space to everything. So we say existence was. Because we have to use some kind of language. So existence was means it was, it is, it will always be there. Existence was there before creation, meaning existence was there in its pure state without any names and forms manifest. And that existence was eka. The word eka means that there's no swagata bheda. I'm sure you've probably studied the three types of differences that could happen, right? The first kind of difference is swagata bheda, where there's difference within parts. So let us say a tree. A tree has differences in its parts. It has the trunk, it has the leaves, it has the branches, it has the fruit and the flowers. So in a tree, there's different parts. That's called swagata bheda. And at the same time, with the tree, you have an apple tree, a pear tree, an orange tree. So there's different species of trees. That's called sajatiya bheda, different species of trees. At the same time, we don't only have trees. We have trees and animals, and then we have inanimate objects. We have books, we have tables, we have chairs. So therefore, that is called vijatiya bheda. Differences amongst different species, right? So when we say that Sat is eka, it's one, it means it has no parts. This existence that is a substratum of the world, it has no parts. And when we say eva, eva means there's no sajatiya bheda, means there's no another existent species. There's only just one existence. There's one existence. And when we say advitiyam, it means there's no vijatiya bheda. There's nothing other than existence. Right? So let's think about this for a moment. when we say eka, there's only one existence. Some people might say, aren't names and forms part of existence? Aren't names and forms part of existence? So doesn't existence have parts? So our answer to that is that names and forms don't have their own existence to be a part. For example, if we take water, there's bubbles, there's froth, there's foam. Can we say the bubbles and froth and foam are part of water? No, because they are actually water. They are water in essence. So that name and form and function, it cannot create any parts in existence because they don't have an independent existence apart from existence. Also, existence was without name and form before creation. So if existence was without name and form before creation, how can name and form be part of existence? It cannot, right? And some might say, but I don't know any partless thing. How can existence be partless? Think of space. Space is partless. So if space is partless, then why can't existence be partless? Right? So in this way, there is one existence without any parts. So it's not that existence has different parts. Like, if you take this room, there is space, right? There is room space, this hall space, there is the corridor space, there's the kitchen space, there's the dining space, right? But actually, it is just one space. It's one space because in and through the walls are also space. You can't break space, right? Just because there's a wall there doesn't mean that the space is breaking, because in and through the wall there's space. In and through the walls of the corridor there's space. So there's just one space, but because of these different walls and these different forms, we think there's a lot of space. And there's parts to space. So this existence is eka. There's no parts to it. It is one pure existence. You might think, so then, so is it that everybody has their own existence? That, okay, you have existence in you, you have existence in you, you have existence in you, I have existence in me. No, eva, sajatiya, there's no sajatiya bheda. Means that this, again, this body, this name and form is not a type of existence, because it cannot exist without existence. Only existence is, and names and forms are just apparent differences. They're seeming differences. So it's not that I have my own existence, and you have your own existence, and you have your own existence. This is just a seeming difference. This body, this mind, it's a seeming difference because it cannot again exist without existence. So there is no difference. Now we'll take vijatiya bheda. Is there anything apart from existence? Non-existence. And non-existence is not existent. Right? So in that way, there is only one existence. Without any parts, without any other species, without any other thing, only one existence is in this world. And now he's going to talk about how the world came about and all of that. But before that, just now think in you, right? Because this is also for us to think in ourselves. What is that existence? What is that existence in us? That existence is beyond any name and form that we possess, right? So if we take away all the forms and all the names that we have, what remains? Existence. And why are we going to take away the names and forms? Because we feel, right? when we study Vedanta, we feel that this body is temporary. Everybody here feels this body is temporary? Yes? Everybody feels that our names are also temporary? Yes? But do we feel that the body is false? No, right? We don't feel it. So what this is saying is, think about it. In the waking state, body is there, it exists, yes? In the dream state, what happens? It's not existing, pretty much, right? It's not existing, pretty much. We take on a subtle body in our dreams. We have a different body, we have a different mind, we have a different name, yes? And what happens in deep sleep state? We don't even take on any body, or any mind, or any name. Nothing, right? So think about this body. It exists sometimes, and then it doesn't exist sometimes, right? So is existence its real nature? No. Its real nature is not existence. It's borrowing existence. And that's why we say this body is an appearance. It's false. Because if something was our true nature, it would be with us all the time. All the time. For example, the essential nature of sugar is what? Sweetness, right? Now, in any country you go, sugar will be sweet, correct? You will not find salty sugar. But we will find brown sugar, cubed sugar, white sugar, powdered sugar. Those are incidental. They'll come and go. They can be different. But sugar will always be sweet. Yes? Now take fire. What's the essential nature of fire? Heat. Have you ever seen cold fire? Well, we've seen red fire, orange fire, black fire, right? But we've never, seen cold fire. So heat is the essential nature of fire. Now, what is our essential nature? Is it the body? We've seen body, but we've also seen no body. Right? We've seen mind, we've also seen no mind. We've seen Shubhani, our ego, but also no Shubhani. So can that be a real nature? No, it's coming and going. Coming and going, not just temporary, but it depends on existence. So our real nature is not this body, mind, ego, because it comes, it goes. Sometimes it's existent, sometimes it's non-existent. Therefore, this is not our true nature. Our true nature is that Sat, or pure being. This is what he's talking about. More of how we are Sat will come, but this, in essence, Sat eva somya idam agra asid. This is our true being. This is also the nature of the world. It is just pure existence. Then he says, some people say that the whole world came from non-existence. Tadha eka ahuhu. Some people say, asat eva idam agra asid. That before creation it was just non-existence. And this non-existent was one without a second. Ekam eva dvitiya. And he's asking Shweta-ketu, how is it that the world can come from non-existence? So now we will see the second mantra in this second section. Kutastu khalu somya evam syad iti hovacha katham asatas sajjayeteti satveva somya idamagra asid ekameva dvitiyam. So he tells his son, Kutaha tu somya. But how somya? evam syat, how could it be? Iti ha uvacha. This is what Uddalaka Rishi said. Katham asataha, how from non-existence sat jayeta, how could existence come from non-existence? Sattu eva, existence alone, Somya, idam agra asid. This whole world was existence alone. Ekam eva advitiya, one without a second. So some people say that the world came from non-existence because the example that they give is the seed. The seed, when you take a seed, it gets destroyed and then the sprout comes, right? So they say it's non-existent and then existence comes. But then we say, well, actually the seed is continuing in the sprout, and that's why you need a mango seed to have a mango sprout. You need an apple seed to have an apple sprout. If that was the case, you could take any seed and have any sprout, right? And if that's the case, that we don't need anything to create anything, then why don't you make a pot without clay? Don't take clay and make a pot. Create something from non-existence. Have you ever seen that? And so we say that it cannot be that the world comes from non-existence. And also, if you look at this, non-existence was. What happens? It's an oxymoron, right? You're saying non-existence was. How could you say that? Because non-existent is non-existent. So how could it be there, right? And if you look around, if non-existence was the cause of this world, then non-existence would pervade the whole world, right? Everything would be is not, is not, is not. Huh? I am not. This is not. This is not. But everything is. It is, it is, it is. So Uddalaka Rishi says, there's no way that this world has come from non-existence. Because we've never seen from nothing something can come. If from nothing something can come, then from nothing build a building. Right? So he says, Somya, O Shwetaketu, it is just Sat. Sat, or pure being alone, was there before creation. And one without a second. Now Shwetaketu is so curious because he said if it was pure being alone, without any names and forms, then how did this world appear? How did this world appear? How did this creation appear? So here I have to caution us that in the Upanishads, there are so many creation theories, all different from each other. Very many. Why? Because the purpose is not to tell us how creation came to be. The purpose is to take us beyond creation. It's to take us beyond the names and forms. That's the purpose of it. So in, let us say, Tattva Bodha, I know some of you have, how many of you have studied Tattva Bodha? Right? So there's Panchikarana, right? So you have Akasha, and then Vayu, right? And then Agni, and then Apaha, and then Prithvi, all of that. But in this Upanishad, it's Trivrit Karana. It's using three. It's using Tej, up, and Anna, fire, water, and earth. So these different creation theories, so-called, are there to just tell us how this world came about so that our mind can rest, but really to take us beyond the world. And for each student that comes to the teacher, they explain creation in a very different way. In Chandogya Upanishad, it's explained as dream, right? So now this is how Uddalaka Rishi is explaining to Shwetaketu how this world came about so we can understand. And he does it in a very beautiful way. First he explains how these elements are there in the world. Then he explains how these elements are there in us. And then he's going to equate the substratum of the world to the substratum of us. Okay? So let's see now. Mantra number 3. Tadha aikshat bahusyam prajayeti tattejo asrajat tatteja aikshat bahusyam prajayeti tadapo asrajat tasmat yatra kvacha shochati sweda deva purushastejasa eva tadyaho jayante. So what happens here now? The Upanishad takes a turn. So existence alone was, we got this. Now we have to bring in consciousness, Chit. We have to understand that this existence is not an inert existence. This very existence is consciousness. Because if existence was different from consciousness, what would happen? Then consciousness would be non-existent. Are you existent? Yes, right? So existence and consciousness are the same thing. And if existence was different, then existence would be inert. It would be jada. You exist? Are you aware or are you unaware? Aware. Correct? So simple. Existence is consciousness, because if you take your life, right? Even if you don't take the world, one thing for sure, I am. Nobody denies that. Correct? Do you need anybody to tell you you are? No, we know. Right? So this existence is consciousness. Consciousness is existence. And how he brings this out is tadha aikshata. The tat here means sat. Sat. With the power of Maya visualized. Because now whenever we bring in creation, we have to bring in Maya. Because remember, pure Brahman cannot create. Pure Brahman doesn't visualize. Pure Brahman just is. So that's Sat with Maya visualized. So this visualization brings in Chit. It means this Sat, which is also the nature of Chit, with the power of Maya, visualize now this whole creation. And very creatively, how did this Sat with the Chit with Maya visualize? Bahusyam prajayeta. Bahusyam prajayeta. May I become many. Now, if we look at our desires in life, what is the root desire? Desire for happiness. And what is the nature of the desire for happiness? Desire for extension. Everybody wants to extend, correct? Everybody wants to extend their life, extend their stay, extend their time, extend their wealth. We want to extend our wealth. We want to extend our children, our name to our children. We want to extend our following. Everybody wants to just extend. So here, the same way that Sat said, Bahusyam prajayeta. May I extend. May I become many. This is all our desires. We want to keep extending the ego. We want to find so many ways to extend the ego. So Sat did the same thing. And the first thing that came out of Sat, or pure being, is Teja, fire. So here, unlike Tattva Buddha, the first thing here is fire. And they do everything in 3 elements. And this fire also created this fire, meaning this Sat with that fire created, and the fire said, may I also become many, and this fire created Apa, or water. So the Teja Aikshata, the fire, the Sat with that fire created Bahusya Prajayeta. May I become many, and created water. And therefore, Tasmad Yatra Kocha Shochati. Whenever there's mental anguish, mental grief, what happens? Whenever there's burning, mental tapa, what happens? we cry. Correct? So that's how fire creates water. Whenever there's mental anguish or so tense, we cry. Huh? And Swedateva. Whenever there's physical heat in the body, whenever we're going for a run, exercising, walking, what happens? We sweat. So that's how fire creates water. Very simple in the Upanishads. Right? And so therefore, in the Purusha, Teja eva tad apaha adijayante. Means from fire itself, water's created. Very logical? Simple to understand? Okay. Now, what's going to happen is, now Anna, or the earth element, will be created. So let us see that. The fourth mantra. Ta apaha aikshanta bhavasyam prajaye mahiti ta annam asrajanta tasmat yatra vachavarshati tadeva bhuyishtam annam bhavati Abhya eva tad adhyadnadyam jayate. So now, this, who's the next one to visualize? Water. Taha apaha. Apaha is always bahuvachana, water. So that's water visualized. What did the water visualize? Bahvasyam prajaye mahi. May I become many. And so that water, ta annam asrijanta, that water created earth. Yes? So then how do we understand this? Tasmat, therefore, yatra kocha varshati, where it rains. What happens wherever it rains? Bhuyishtam annam bhavati, many crops grow. Lots of food grows, right? So this is the logic. That water has created earth, water has created food, because whenever there's water, lots of crops grow. Yeah? So he said, Adbhya eva, from water, tat anadyam, this food, adhijayate, that adhi, you have to put with jayate, adhijayate, from water alone, food is born. Okay, so now we have Sat, which is really Chit, Sat, existence, consciousness, with the power of Maya, now creating this world. And first we have fire, we have water, and we have earth. And the whole world comes to be. Now he's going to talk about the creation of the Sukshma elements and then the Sthula elements. And then he'll get into why he's talking about all of this. Right? So now let's see section 3. Tesham kalvesham bhutanam trinyeva bijani bhavanti andajam Jivajam Udbhijamiti. So he says, Tesham Kalvesham Bhutanam, means of all of these beings, what's going to happen later is going to predict Trini Eva Bijani. They all have 3 kinds of wombs. And what are the 3 wombs? Andajam, those creatures that are born from eggs. So what's born from eggs? Like reptiles, fish, mosquitoes, born from eggs, right? Then we have Jivajam. Jivajam means born from the womb. Born from wombs. So mammals, humans, they're born from wombs. Then Udbhijam means those that break the earth and they're born, like plants. And in some texts, there's also swedaja, born from sweat, like lies, etc. So like this, he's saying, these are the different wombs that come to be in creation. This is how everything is slowly created. Now he's going to talk about what happens, how did we become conscious beings? So we have this, we have this sat, chit, we have this fire, water, earth. How did we become conscious beings? So now let's see in mantra number 2. Sayam devata aikshata hanta aham imaha tisro devataha hanta aham imaha tisro devataha anena jivena atmana anupravishya namarupe vyakaravaditi. So, sa iyam devata, that deity existence, aikshata, willed and said, anena jivena atmana anupravishya, means through this living self, through this living being, I will enter. Imaha tisro devataha, into these 3 deities I will enter, and nama rupe vyakaravani, I will manifest name and form. So the deity said, entering into these 3 deities, through this living self, I will manifest name and form. So now what does this mean? This is such a beautiful thing, because when we talk about how did we become conscious beings, there's many theories that come. Some people feel like the brain produces consciousness. That brain produces consciousness, and that's how we became conscious beings. But that's not proven yet so far. Nobody's been able to prove it. And if we say that the brain has produced consciousness, and then brain has produced this entire world, brain has produced this, brain has produced that, this is not obvious to us. We've never come across such a thing. But what this is saying is that how we became conscious beings is through a simple procedure. It talks about Shruti Pravesha. So for example, take a person and take a mirror, right? What happens when we're standing in front of the mirror? Automatically, the reflection's there, correct? Automatically, the reflection's there. Now, I didn't do anything, right? Just because there was a mirror, the reflection happened, correct? So in the same way, that is how consciousness has entered into us, so to say. It's not an actual entry, not that consciousness actually came into us. One of the ways that Upanishad explains it is that our mind is like a mirror. Our mind is like a mirror, and in that mind, that consciousness is automatically reflected. And that is how we have become sentient beings. So that is anena jivena atmana anupravishya. And through this, because now we have become sentient, now we can create more names, more forms, and we can actually do things. This is called pravesha, right? But he doesn't stop there. Now he's going to create the whole gross, the stula creation. So let us see the next mantra. Tasam trivritam ekekam karavaniti seyam devata imaha tisro devataha aneneva jivena pravisya namarupe vyakarot. We'll read the next one too. Tasam trivritam ekekam yatha tu khalu somya imaha tisro devataha trivrit ekeka bhavati tanme vijanihi iti. So now, this one, I'm not going to go word for word, but I'm just going to show you your diagram in your book on page 29, right? You see in your book on page 29, how creation is being put forth is that fire, water, and earth were separate. There are three things. And then, like in Tattva Bodha, very much, they split into two. So you have 50% fire, 50% water, 50% earth. Then with that 50% fire, what happens? That 25% water, 25% earth, they join together. With that 50% of water, we have 25% fire, 25% earth. And with that 50% earth, we have 25% fire, 25% water. So what happens now is that each thing in the world has these three things. Each thing has fire, water, earth. Right? So you get the whole process. So the whole process is Sat, Dit, Ikshanam, visualized. And from Sat, with the power of Maya, came fire, water, earth. And in the subtle creation, what happens is that Sat entered into the jivas. Entered meaning didn't physically enter, as we saw, right? It is that through the reflection. Because the mind is a reflecting medium, the reflection of consciousness is seen in the mind, right? Now, and what happened to the subtle bodies? All of these subtle bodies are there, but they need a gross form. So the gross form is there, fire, water, earth, and he combined everything. So everything has these three elements, fire, water, earth. So whatever we see now, what he's going to say is whatever we see is only going to be fire, water, earth. Okay? So let's see that. And once we get this, then he will come to how that exists in us. Okay? So, section 4. We'll now be in section 4. He's going to explain how all of these are in all things in the world. Yad agne rohitam rupam tejasastad rupam yad shuklam tadapam yad krishnam tadannasya apagat agnehe agnitvam Vacharambhanam vikaro namadheyam Trini rupani tyeva satyam. So now he's saying, examine the world. Just examine the world. Yat agni. In that fire. So everyone, I want you to imagine fire. Just imagine fire. Rohitam rupam. That which is red in fire, right? That is tejasastad rupam. That is the fire element. Okay? Yat shuklam. That which is white in fire. You see some whiteness in fire. Tadapam. That is the water element. Yat krishnam. That which is black in fire. You've seen some black things in fire. That is anna. Tadannasya. That is only the earth element, right? So if you look at fire, what you're really looking at is not exactly fire. You're looking at This fire is really a combination of fire element, water element, earth element. And if you take these three out, apagat, agnehe, agnitvam, that fire ceases to exist. So what is that fire? Vacharambhanam vikaro namadheyam. It's just based on speech. Because if you remove all of these three elements, the fire ceases to exist. There's no such thing called fire. Everything here is elements. Everything is elements. You remove the elements from there, there's no such thing as this desk exists. No such thing as this bed exists. No such thing as this watch will exist. You remove the elements, it ceases to exist. So this, what we call fire, is just vacharambhanam vikaro namadhyam. It's just based on speech. Now, even deeper, if what is the truth of the elements? Existence. If you remove the existence from the three elements, then what happens? They cease to exist. Right? So this is what he's telling us. He says, take the entire creation, remove the three elements, that particular thing ceases to exist. Remove existence from those three elements, then even those three elements cease to exist. And what remains alone is truly existence. Because nothing can be without existence. So now he's going to give three more examples. So let us see. Yad adityasya rohitam rupam tejasastad rupam yad shuklam tadapa yad krishnam tadannasya apagat adityat adityatvam vacharambhanam vikaro namadheyam त्रीणि रूपाणित्येव सत्यम्. Now he says, take the sun. Right? Today is Ratha Saptami, right? The sun. Yad adityasya rohitam rupam. That which is red in the sun. We've seen red in the sun. That is just the fire element. Tejasastad rupam. Yad shuklam. Take that which is white in the sun. You see white in the sun, some whiteness. That is just the water element. Yat shuklam tadapa. Yat krishnam. We see black in the sun, black spots, right? The black hole, right? A black in the sun. What is that? The earth element. Tadannasya. You take out all of those three things from the sun. Apagat, adityat, adityatvam. You take out the sunness from the sun, means the sun ceases to exist. So what is the sun? Vacharambhanam vikaro namadheyam. It's just based on speech. There's no actual thing called sun. It's just really these three elements. Like that, if we think about everything, just imagine what we would come to. Now, let's take the moon. He's taking the moon also. Yat chandramaso rohitam rupam tejasastad rupam yat shuklam tadapa yat krishnam tadannasya apaga chandra chandratvam vacharambhanam vikaro namadheyam त्रीणि रूपाणित्येव सत्यम्. Now you take the moon. Same thing we do with the moon. Yat chandramasah rohitam rupam. You seen the red moon? You take the redness out of the moon. That is the fire element, right? Yat shuklam, the whiteness out of the moon, that is the water element. Then the blackness of the moon, yat krishna, that is the earth element. You remove all of this, then there's nothing that's called moon. The three elements alone are Satyam. Trini Rupani Ityeva Satyam. You take the moonness out of the moon, and just these three elements remain. Now we'll go to lightning. Yad vidyuto rohitam rupam tejasastad rupam yad shuklam tadapam yad krishnam tadannasya apagad vidyuto vidyutvam vacharamhanam vikaro namadheyam Trini Rupani Ityeva Satyam. Now lightning. So Vidyut means lightning. So that which is red again, that represents the fire element. That which is white represents the water element. That which is black, the earth element. We remove that from lightning, and I also searched this and I found out that lightning could be in different colors actually, right? Remove this from lightning and lightning ceases to exist. Only these three elements are there. So take out these three elements from anything and anything falls apart. Take out existence from these three elements and the three elements fall apart. Now you might think, now why is he reiterating this again and again and again and again? He's going to say that the wise people, they knew this. They knew this. They knew that existence alone was. And because they knew this, they saw life in a very different way. When we understand that behind the names and forms, there is that awareness, there is that existence, and that is our focus, we see life in a very different way. But when we just focus on names and forms and we forget existence, then we get into trouble. Imagine that you're in an ocean. We say ocean of samsara, right? Ocean of samsara. Now there are three ways to be in this ocean. There are three ways to be in this world. The first person is somebody who's in this vast ocean and drowning, catching their breath barely and trying to swim. Trying to swim but catching their breath barely and just breathing heavily. Because they see this world as a field of persecution, right? We're talking about something so subtle, some existence, but I have some troubles in my coworkers. I'm disturbed today. Somebody said something to me today. I didn't like it. I have some issues at home. I have some things going on with my body. You're talking about existence, but all these problems are existing for me. I'm going through a lot of things. And when we see these things as so real, so lively, it is like we are living in a field of persecution and barely making it up to swim. And when we do that, then we look at life only this way. And we will get persecuted by it. A better way to look at life is not a field of persecution per se, but a field of purification. This world is there for me to purify. And everything that I do, every single action that I do, is for my purification. Whether it's raising a family, whether it's being in a career, whether it's dealing with people, whatever it is, whether it's cooking, whether it's cleaning, whether it's driving, it is for my purification. It is for me to evolve. So in this ocean of samsara, this person is not drowning all the time, but this person knows how to swim, is learning to swim and say, I live in this world. Sure, it's imperfect, sure, it's unpredictable, but I live in this world and I'll use it as a ground to purify. Every moment of it, I'll use it as a sadhana. Remember, sadhana is not something that we do just when we're sitting alone and closed eyes. Sadhana is something that we do ongoing. Everything is a sadhana, rather. So this field as a field of purification. But is this the highest way to look at the world? The wise ones, they look at the world not as a field of persecution or a field of purification even, but a field of play. So instead of being in that ocean, they're actually outside of the shore and watching. They're watching the waves. Because they know the nature of the world is to go up and down. The nature of the world is dvandva, meaning the apparent duality. That is how the world is. It is the appearance of duality, it's the appearance of multiplicity. So they see the world as a play, that it will come up, it will come down. It will do its thing, it will go away. And it will keep happening. This is Jagat. As much as we want to change things and make things better, which we should, but please think and please know that somebody else will come and change everything after you leave. Alright? So we should strive to make changes, we should strive to contribute. But don't get attached to making those changes and keeping those changes, because the moment we leave, somebody will come and undo whatever we did. So a lot of times we're not actually doing things, we're repairing. We're in repair mode, right? So when we have this deeper knowledge that the substratum of this world is actually something much deeper, all these things are just appearing, then we look at the world very differently. We look at it, as I explained yesterday, as a field of play. It's just the name and forms. It's like Bhagavan playing with these various names and forms in incredible ways. And this knowledge is helping us to see that we don't need to pay so much attention to the name and form, but understand the existence behind it. What happens when we watch a movie, right? When we watch a movie, we forget the screen. And we get so engrossed in the movie. We get so engrossed in the movie that we're crying, we're laughing, we're just going hysterical with the movie. And then at the end, we're like, oh yes, it is just a screen, right? But what happens is, if throughout I knew it was a screen, and I just enjoyed it. It's comedy, a beautiful comedy. Tragedy, beautiful tragedy also. I enjoyed the art of the movie. Because the whole time we knew that it was just a screen. Then our emotions wouldn't be so heavy, right? They wouldn't be so drastic. They wouldn't be so traumatic. So imagine that when we're looking at this world, it's also a movie. And always know that there's a screen beyond that. And the most beautiful thing is you are that screen. It's happening not outside you, but it's happening in you. And that's what this is for. This is not for us to memorize, but this is for us to understand the deeper meaning. So whenever we forget, just think, this is all a movie. This is all a play. And if we remove existence from all of it, and is it really there? No. That existence is Sat. So now let's see what the wise people say. We'll come to the next mantra, number 5. Etat hasmavai tad vidvamsaha ahuhu Purve mahashalaha mahashrutriyaha na no adya kaschana ashrutam amatam avijñātam udaharishyatiti Yebhyo vidān chakruhu. So this is what the wise people, they thought. They said that everything here, right? sa etat, this triplication, this trivritkaranam, this threefoldness, this everything becoming fire, water, earth, vidvam saha have. It was indeed on knowing this, purve, that these ancient mahashalas, great householders. So he's not talking about some rishi, some saint, some sage, went to the Himalayas and sat and meditated. The great householders knew this. Mahashalas, those householders, they used to provide their places to do yajnas and yagas. They knew it. And mahashrotriyaha, they were scholarly, means they studied this and they knew the truth. And what did Ahuhu? They said that to us, naha, to us, kashchana, to any one of us, there's nothing ashrutam, there's nothing unheard, nothing amatam, nothing unthought of, nothing avijñatam, nothing known. Udaharishyati iti means they couldn't point out to anything unheard, anything unthought of, anything unknown. Vidan chakruhu, because ebhyaha, from these three forms, vidan chakruhu, they understood everything. So there was nothing unknown to them, because they understood the substratum of everything. There was nothing unheard for them. There was nothing unthought of for them. They understood everything. Now, what is the result of understanding such a knowledge? Right? So, okay, we know that existence is the substratum of everything, and existence alone exists. What is the result? What's it for us? Why should we know this? So one I explained is that because we can take this as a field of play, instead of getting too engrossed in it, right? Too attached to it. It's a field of play, it will keep moving. But the second thing also is for our desires to cease. And in this regard, I'll tell you a story that Puja Guruji always tells us. So he was there once in a bhiksha. And he was in a bhiksha, and many people were there, and on the table there was a plate of mangoes. And so he liked mangoes, and he was looking at the mangoes, and he said, I'm so excited to eat mangoes. And people were serving him everything but mangoes. So on one side he was so sad, he said, I'm excited to eat mangoes, but nobody's giving me the mangoes. And they're bringing rice, they're bringing curry, they're bringing sabji, everything, but no mango. So finally he got fed up. He said, enough. And he told everybody, you go to the other room, stay there, and I will come for the question-answer session. And he felt like if he told everybody to leave, he could go and he could eat his mango, right? So he reached out and he went to take the mango. And what happened? It was a fake mango. It was a completely fake mango. And what happened? All his joy disappeared, all his sorrow disappeared, all his desires disappeared. Everything disappeared, gone. Right? Now this is a simple story, but the implications are very deep. What are we wanting? What are we desiring? How would you find it if I said, I want to gain my hand? What would you say? If I said, I want to gain my leg, I want to gain my foot, I want to gain my shoulder, you would think I'm crazy, right? I want to gain Atman. I want to gain happiness. That's you. It is like saying, I want to gain my hand, I want to gain my shoulder, I want to gain my leg, I want to gain... It's like saying that I want to gain happiness. That's what it is. I am that. You are that. But we are going out in the world, to pursue it, to gain that happiness. We're never going to find it. We're never going to find it because it's not there. We might get glimpses of it, but that true bliss, that is in you. That is in you. And so once we realize that the whole nature of this world is existence, I am that existence, so I am actually appearing as this world, why would I want myself? Would anyone want themselves? You already have yourself. So why go out on this goose chase? The minute we don't know this, what happens? We desire. After we desire something, what happens? We put forth action. We put forth action. After we put forth action, what happens? We get the result. When we get the result, what happens? Sometimes we're happy, then we wanted more. If we're happy, we say, oh, this was good, I want more of it. Correct? And if we didn't get it, if we're sad, oh, let me try something else. Correct? So what are we doing every day? Only this. Only this. I have this desire, I'm gonna pursue it, I'm gonna pursue it, I'm gonna get the result, and when I get the result, it's called phala. Phala because it's temporary. And phala also because it has a seed for more and more things to come. I become happy, but then I want to become more happy. Or I become happy and then it's temporary only. Or I'm sad, so I'll try something else to be happy. So when we understand this, then we're not going out into the world to desire, to hoard, to do, to gain. We're simply going out into the world to serve, to give, to love. That's why we chant for Puja Gurudev, Samasta Jana Kalyane Niratam, right? The one who's ever engaged in the welfare of all. Because he's not going out in the world to chase anything. It's going to be an endless chase. He's just going out in the world to give. Till this body is there, till this mind is there, till this ego is there, let us give. Because I'm not going to get anything from the world that I don't already have. That is why we're studying this. We're studying everything is existence, everything is existence, everything is you, to understand that the implications of it are, one is we take life to be a play. We take it to be lighter and not get so bogged down by the other things. And taking it to be so serious and so heavy. And the second thing is also so that we don't go out there to become complete. We go out there to give. We go out there to serve, to love. And we rejoice in our own completeness. This is what the great people knew. Okay, so let's continue to see what they knew. Now, mantra number 6. Yadurohitam iva abhut iti tejasastadrupam iti tadvidhan chakruhu yadushuklam iva abhut iti apam rupam iti tadvidhan chakruhu yadu krishnam iva abhut iti annasya rupam iti tadvidhan chakruhu yadu avijñātam iva abhut iti etāsam eva devatānām samāsah iti tadvidhan chakruhu yatha khalunu somya imaha tisro devataha purusham prapya trivrit ekaika bhavati tanme vijanihi iti. Very good. So here they understood Yat rohitam iva abhut. Whatever is red, tat tejasaha, that is the fire. Tat rupamiti, that is the rupa, the form of fire. Tad vidan chakruhu, they knew that. Yat ushuklam iva abhut, whatever was white. Tat apam rupamiti, they knew that to be the color of water. Tad vidan chakruhu, they knew. Yadu krishnam iva abhut, whatever appeared black. Iti, tad annasya rupam iti, they knew that to be the color of food or the earth element. Tad vidan chakruhu. And yatu avijñātam iva abhut, whatever appeared to be unknown iti. Etasam eva devatanam samasa iti. They understood that it's just a combination of these devatas. So all of these were just a combination of elements. And remember, we're getting to the elements are truly sat. The origin, the substratum of the elements are sat or existence. And so, Somya, Uddalaka Rishi tells him, Yadhanu imaha tisra devataha. How these three deities, Purusham Prapya, on reaching a person, Ekeka Trivrit Trivrit Bhavati, means they become one. Tan me vijanihiti, you know from me. How these three things are in a person. So what we have seen so far is that the whole line of thought, I'm just going to go through the whole line of thought, and then we'll see where Uddalaka Rishi is going to. So the whole line of thought we saw today was the substratum of the world is pure being or existence, Sat. And it's one alone. Ekam, Eva, Advitiyam. One alone without a second. So it is not that names and forms are part of Sat. It is not that there's different kinds of Sat. And it is not that there's anything that exists apart from Sat. Because it would be non-existent. So existence alone is the substratum of the world. Just like space is partless, existence is subtler than space. So existence is partless. Just like we can't cut space, we can't cut existence. There's just one existence, one seeming existence. And all of these are names and forms. Is this body, this mind also a name and form? Yes. Why? Because sometimes it's existing, sometimes it's not existing, right? So it's not only temporary. It's not only that my body will die someday. It is that my body doesn't exist at some parts of the day, right? So existence is not my true nature, means the true nature of this body. Existence is not the true nature of the mind. Existence is not the true nature of this ego. All of this is just appearing. It's called Vacha Rambhanam, just based on speech. It's namesake only. But my true nature is existence. Same way, the true nature of the world is existence. This existence with consciousness, or as consciousness, visualize the world with the power of Maya. This is just to give us one way of how creation could be thought of, so that we begin to understand the world. And how did it come? First fire element, then water element, then earth element. And it makes perfect sense. Why? Because whenever we are heated, we tear up. Right? Whenever we're depressed, we cry. From fire, water. Whenever we're running, exercising, from fire, water. Next time you're exercising, think of Chandogya Upanishad. Next time that you're crying, think of Chandogya Upanishad. How from water food came? Very simple. Rain. Correct? It rains, there's food. Right? So like this, the world came. The world came and all of these elements were there. And how did we become conscious? Did that Sat actually come into us? Enter into us? No, it's through the reflection of consciousness. Right? Mind was here, and therefore that Sat reflected in the mind is the entry of consciousness. It's automatic. It's automatic. Because my mind is a reflective surface, the is there and it reflects in my mind. And I have that now. That reflection of consciousness is here and I am a conscious being. And now that the subtle bodies were created, all the gross bodies were also created. And in all of them, the three elements are combined. They combined like you have Panchikarana. In Tattva Bodha, you have Trivrit Karana. Here. So in each body, in each being, we will find fire, water, earth. And in fact, if we look at everything, it is only fire, water, earth. Right? He gave the examples of the sun, the fire, the moon, lightning. If we remove fire, water, earth, the sun ceases to exist. Moon ceases to exist. Fire and lightning cease to exist. Right? And if we move existence from the three elements cease to exist. Therefore, everything is nothing but existence. And therefore, for the wise, they knew everything is just these three elements, and in their substratum is existence. So there was nothing that they didn't know. There was nothing that they didn't think of. There's nothing that they didn't hear of, because everything was just pure existence. And this is the way they lived their life. And how this set them free was, as I told you, in these two ways. One is they saw things as a play, not taking it too seriously, but also they did not anymore run for the world, chase the world, desire the world, want so many things from the world, because they knew that that existence is me. So why would I do that? Right? Now, we have seen the world. Uddalaka Rishi says to Shwetaketu, I'm going to tell you how these three elements are in you. Right? So you see how these three elements are in the world. I'm going to tell you how these three elements are in you. So tomorrow we're going to see a very exciting experiment that Shwetaketu goes through to understand how he is made of the three elements. And then tomorrow also we will start to see the meaning of Tat Tvam Asi. So now all the serious business is over. Now it's going to be a little lighter, lighter and heartier. So tomorrow we will see Shwetaketu's experiment. Okay? Conclude here. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vishishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi